Welcome to the Art School podcast, where we'll be talking about art, literature, and lifestyle from an artist's perspective. My name is Artemus Jenkins, known as a visual artist, researcher, aka experimental ethnographer, and this is something that I just wanted to put together to share my travels, being an international art baddie. Still working on really applying myself and being all that I can be, you know. It's hard work being a baddie, but somebody's got to do it. So a few months ago I went to Lagos. Still haven't gotten around to really sharing a lot of that, but today that changes.
Early bird gets the worm, what's the word? Have you heard? You've been fighting against the currents, got been getting on your nerves. Early bird gets the worm. Early bird gets the worm.
Got a few facts that I want to share with y'all. Some hard facts. ARTSKOOL is a website that's been up for a good little minute, functioning as an international marketplace for artists all over the world. Galleries, collectors, bring them all into one space. And they have a feature, 50 Black-owned galleries feature for Black History Month. And 8 of those galleries that are featured are based in NYC. 14 of them are based in Nigeria. 1 in Florida, 1 in Houston, 1 in Dallas. 2 of them are in the Atlanta area. And the only one that we're going to be talking about today is the Walker and Peters Project, an artist-led project that's been going on for over 18 years, but we just started calling it the Walker and Peters Project because it's located at the intersection of Walker and Peter Street in the historic art district of Castleberry Hill. This conversation we're going to be having is focused on artist-led space, residents, and how we keep any of this stuff moving.
So Artemus, can you tell us about your work in 30 seconds?
I'm a documentarian who utilizes photography and mixed media collages to explore this concept called energetic memory, which is just looking at what it felt like to be in a place, you know, in history, you know, or in the present. Just be able to create a feel for the future of like what it was like to be doing things, as opposed to just explaining and then creating images where we just explain how things were. We can show how they felt. In 2024, we commemorated the 50th year of Lagos and Atlanta being sister cities. This relationship was started by Maynard Jackson, and some artists from Lagos visited Atlanta back in the 70s. But up until last year, no one from Atlanta had ever traveled from Atlanta to Lagos in exchange, which is, you know, the proper way it's supposed to go. So Lauren Tate Baeza remedied that by sending myself, Artemus Jenkins, and Myra Green, the founder of the Spelman Photography Department, over to Lagos to be in residence and to do individual solo shows. We stayed at Victor EHIKHAMENOR's space, Angels and MUSE, which offers opportunities for lens-based artists to be culturally immersed, to research, to just learn and add to their practice in whatever ways they see fit. And I was able to be over there for a month and a half, putting together a show in about 3 weeks and learning a whole lot. So once I arrived in Lagos, I pretty much had to hit the ground running, immediately began working on my concept, which was called Get You Some Protection. I very well could have done that whole series maybe on, just navigating the terrain of Lagos in flip-flops because my walk to the store every morning requires you to definitely watch your step. And wearing, you know, some fancy flip-flops, you gotta double watch your step. It's missing pieces of the ground, oil, cars, just everything. But anyway, the concept Get You Some Protection was really looking at spirituality as something we need to place at the forefront of our fortification. In America, we place a lot of emphasis on protecting ourselves with weapons and fighting, but the time I spent in Legos showed me that there's another layer to protection. Angels and Muse in Legos is a residency space specifically for lens-based artists who are researching and looking to be immersed in culture. So it was actually the perfect space to really begin my study because right down the street was Signature Gallery. Signature was a space that I went to with Francis. Shout out to Francis. He used to do some work out of there, and he introduced me to Jae and Latif. And Latif is the accountant, but Latif is a different type of accountant. Latif knows all about these sculptures, all about the history, the cosmology, just really everything you could want to know. So I came back and did an interview with Latif and found it very illuminating, which is a bit of a struggle in Legos, you know, with the generator and gas situation. So talk a little bit just about, well, one of the things, you know, that I really came away with is that there's an urgency to reconnect to
your roots.
Yeah, the spirit, you know, just like the natural spirit, because everything comes from it. Like,
Yes.
people who are in Christianity don't understand that it's based off of Vodun to begin with.
True.
So just talk a little bit about the energy, you know, that is in this art. Like, why it's important for the sculptures to be returned to Benin. Like, why is that a big deal? And why is it a big deal for people to even be able to experience, you know, like, this particular type of like metal work, you know, that started in Benin?
I would say each of these artworks represents a particular purpose. We have artwork like the badges. From their origin, it represents the dead ones and the living one. Sometimes when you have twins, one dies, another one stays. So the mother of these twins will carve a statue for the dead one. So, and they have to celebrate them annually. Every year they will cook beans, bring palm oil, call people together, and they celebrate them. When they eat the beans, the the oil that soil their hand, they rub it on those statue, and that's why you have the patin. Because when you touch it, this is actually wood that was carved new, but over time that people rub this oil on them after eating, celebrating this thing for like 10, 50 years, they change color, and that's what we call patin. So this represents, some children that were born and they were celebrated. We have some of the statue like this. These are actually king, their ancestors, that they commission some local carvers to carve a particular king and a particular queen. So we have Queen Akenzua, we have King Igwe of Benin. So having all these things abroad, it's about the people's origin. I think I'm trying to say the reason why they were saying they should return them, because some of these things, they belong to ancestors. They speak about former obas that we have maybe 15th centuries, 17th centuries, which people doesn't have again on their altar. So the clamor for them to return to Nigeria is just because people want to be seeing them like the new king. You want to see his ancestors, what they look like. Because actually, these faces you are seeing is actually the faces of those people then that they were carved while they were living. So staying far away from people, they were trying to bring them home so that they can actually feel them. And you know, some of these kings, they were so powerful those days. Some of them do command air, some can command water, some have a spiritual power that you don't know that human being actually possess. So with all these things, these new present Obas, they are trying to see how they can connect to their ancestors through the images of all these things. That's why they were trying to bring them back home. And a lot of that too in Yoruba land, that they were asking that they should bring them back.
There's definitely more to this interview. Can't post it all here because we talked for like a good hour. I could post it all here, but I don't expect most people to watch it. I know all y'all saying y'all want long form content to come back, but baby steps. So if you want to check out more of this interview with Latif and I, you can visit my Patreon, patreon.com/Artemus Jenkins. I'm putting up more of the raw clips just as I work through the edits, but this was a really, really dope first stop. Within about 2 days of me being in Lagos, I gained a whole lot of information just stopping and chatting it up with Latif and Jaye. Signature Gallery has very extensive, traditional art collection, consisting of the bronzes, the sculptures, but they also have some really dope contemporary art from younger artists as well.
So what are you interested in, or you have to still ask the questions, right? Or I just give you a tour?
Oh, you can just talk. You can
Okay.
just literally just, speak about everything that we walking about.
Okay. Studio, like I said, that's my James Baldwin's little corner. I kind of, like him a lot, so I don't know. That's probably a wristwatch by Basquiat. So I collect as well. I collect other artists, so both modern and contemporary. These are from Benin Republic, an artist from Benin Republic, so Kifuli. So I first saw them in 2022 in Dakar, and I was able to trace the artist down through one of his dealers and got it. This is very special and important. This is by Lamidi Fakeye, one of the renowned, so you can see it, renowned carver, taught carving and did workshop in the US. So this is a new addition, just came. That's one of my works. It's a bronze work. So a lot of works that are still in the studio are kind of experimental, and a lot of the works are based on research as well, like a lot of the bookshelves, so.
How did you learn?
Put on the lights.
How did you learn sculpting? Like what?
It's by natural. I mean, I don't sculpt in wood. I mean, so I don't. So growing up in the village, actually, you have the opportunity of doing everything. You try everything out as a play. You are playing and everything. I don't have any hindrance in doing what I want to do. I guess because I didn't academically trained as an artist, that is very helpful, and I'm not restricted. So this is one of my very first ceramic work that I did. It was during a residency I did in Athens, and while I was waiting for my studio to get ready, a friend took me to a ceramist that did classes. So I paid for the classes, and I made this one as one of my first. So I mean, is it functional? Is it not functional? You can drink with it, but you can also make it. So if I were to decide to work with this material, I know exactly what to do. So I'll watch and learn like we did in the village, and then take it from there. So as for the bronzes, for me, they are easy for me to do. I love working with clay. Right, I'm not the one that has to cast them, but I actually do enjoy clay if you have ever worked with clay, it's one of the most amazing things that you can. It's frustrating, but it's also very amazing because it can collapse and just, you know. So perforations. I think this was done in the U.S. while I was still in the U.S. This is an old work. So I have a whole series on collage, you know. So I'm not limited to materiality, really, you know. So materials. This is drawings, you know. So this work that I explore. So this take years to make. Not necessary because of the process, but because I can take an old painting, then intervene with it with these papers. These papers are from. They are not just ordinarily shredded paper, so I go to like special place to get them. This particular one was from the government office that they were taking out, and I happened to be around, and I begged them. They gave me bags, like 3 bags of it. So I've been working with this now for about 10 years. Just every now and then I work with it. Drawings. This is oil 2019.
Why such a deep side?
This is what?
I said, why'd you side so deep?
I mean, like the different medium that I actually explore is quite, you know. So it's not a bad side; it's a good side. Like one has done some work, you know. So this is actually extremely interesting for me because if you look at it, you can find it's quite minimalist as possible, but I really love it. The way I worked on this thing back in the days, you know, so it's probably one of those things that I might come back to, you know. So I use satin color that I experimented with, you know. So this is the main studio. It's not in a work mode right now. It's just like different things that we are documenting stuff and things like that, you know. So perforations on paper, mixed media. It's a little bit of my bronze collection. Bronze head collection, you know. So these are actual BENIN bronzes that I collect over the years, and then I fuse them into some installations. You saw some of them downstairs when we listened, you know. So I collect them directly from BENIN and all of that, you know. So materials. So when I'm in work mode, this whole place gets all funked up. My name is Victor Ehikamenor. I'm an artist, writer, and a photographer. I do other things in between that, you know, but those are the main core of, for the past, I say close to 2 decades now that I've been mostly focused on. I mean, I've done other things in the past, you know, so IT, transportation when I was in the US and all of that, but since I moved back to Nigeria, in 2008, you know, so I came back from the US as a creative director for a media house that was starting to be the creative director and designer of the newspaper, you know, so which is Next 234 Next. And since then, I've been in the community. I've been in Nigeria, mostly in Lagos, where I now have my studio. You know, so in between all of that, travel, writing, painting, exhibitions, creating spaces for other creatives, both young and old. Angels and Muse is the name of the residencies that I created, which is I started kind of creating the space in 2017. Then we've started full operation in 2018. You know, so here in Lagos, downstairs. We started kind of like with 2 rooms, exhibition space, which we call the blank canvas. You can do anything there pretty much, installation, exhibition, film review, film screening, dance. We've had dance there. There's nothing we've not done there really, you know, so as far as creativity is concerned, in that sense, just to open it up to the community so that people can have a space to come to and do whatever, express themselves, book readings, workshop for writers, you know, so, and that has expanded now to BENIN in a in a much bigger form where we now can take a lot of artists in, creatives, because when I say artists, people are looking at just creative, people are just looking at visual artists, which is absolutely not the limitation of it. You know, so filmmakers, sculptors, directors, museum directors, curators, writers, screenwriters, poets. Think about it, you understand, the whole 9 yards, and even development people, tech people, you understand, because the whole point is to create a synergy between all these moving parts, especially when it's a budding. When I say budding, doesn't mean creativity is not a budding economy in Nigeria. It's not really a new thing in Nigeria. You really have to be, one has to be silly to think that what is happening right now is brand new. It's not at all.
Welcome. Yes. How are you doing?
A sister city or twin town relationship is a form of legal or social agreement between two geographically and politically distinct localities for the purpose of promoting cultural and commercial ties as defined on Wikipedia, the greatest source of information on the internet. What Victor's alluding to with this whole art thing not being new in Lagos is obviously reflected in the fact that 50 years ago someone saw fit to link Atlanta and Lagos in this relationship. But it's very interesting that in that 50 years, no Atlanta artist ever traveled to Lagos. I think it's also interesting that 50 years ago, 3 Lagosian artists did travel to Atlanta, and then 2 more came earlier last year. And finally, 2 Atlanta artists went to Lagos, and it was the first time ever in this 50-year relationship. So we're at the Consulate General's dinner. Fancy thing that I put on some good clothes for. I got some clothes made for this, actually. You saw them in the mirror. And this was a celebration of this sister city relationship that's been happening for 50 years. So what this means is your boy was over in Lagos being a global cultural ambassador for America, but Atlanta specifically, representing for the arts and taking pictures and all of that. You're looking at the works of Bruce Hanna-Brakpaya, who recently had a retrospective at the Smithsonian in DC last year that was actually curated by the same woman who brought us out to Lagos for this residency. She organized the arts exchange for the 2 Nigerian artists who traveled over in February of 2024, Taye Idahor and Kanibi Osanya. You see my work. It's developing. I like my work, but the stuff they're making in Lagos is different, as you can see. I'm working on it though. Like I said, being an international art baddie requires a lot of personal application, but this work coming up right here, this is from Kanibi. As you can see, this is how they do it in Lagos. Make my little piece look like, you know, whatever, but we had to pack. You know, I couldn't pack a piece that big. This is Myra, who started the photography department in Spelman. You see she's super turned up, dazzling the folks. And right here, we got the work of Taye right here. She does very, very like detailed mixed media pieces, like sculpture, all types of shit. You got Lauren right here, the woman who is the reason for the seasons, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, man, this was a very unique forum for me to be in. Just very, very honored to even be out in Lagos doing something like this amongst all these dope people who really enjoy art, culture, and talking with their hands.
Through each performance, each exhibit, and each creative exchange, we have witnessed how art transcends borders, telling stories that resonate with audiences across cultures. Tonight, we celebrate not only the achievements of the past, but also the promise of the future. The talent and creativity we see in our artists reminds us that collaboration is the heart of true progress. We see it in the vibrant colors and textures of Nigerian artistry and the innovative spirits of American art forms. Together, we have created a rich tapestry that reflects our shared humanity and our distinct voices.
Another fly piece of info I forgot to mention is that while we were in Lagos, ArtX was happening, which officially kicks off the art season for Lagos. So that means I helped kick off the art season as well. My exhibition opened the same day as ArtX, which means not a lot of people came. But it's okay though, because ArtX is the biggest art fair in West Africa. So I understand, you know, if people want to prioritize. My show was open for 2 weeks, so people still got a chance to come and see me. But I also had to go to ArtX because this was the VIP opening. So I got to see everything before everybody else. And Tokini Peterside is the woman who started ArtX, I think back in 2017. She's an entrepreneur who really just saw that there was an opportunity to feature Lagos and Africa in general in a way that it needed to be featured, in a way that this very influential place needed to be recognized for all of its contributions. My favorite part in ArtX was this library section they had. The Gas Foundation contributed or loaned, you know, a lot of their books, and just flipping through these books. I don't have shots of that to show you because I was too busy reading them. It just really shows you like how influential Lagos has been. Festac Festival in '77, that's something you can Google just to really like, you know, get an idea of it. But the Black arts movement as we know it, a lot of that Lagos is responsible for. We'll say that conversation for another time, but this particular installation was just one of my faves. Japa is the concept that it was really calling attention to, is something that a lot of Nigerians consider, because Nigeria is a hard place, and Japa means to run, basically, to get your ass up out of there. But a lot of people have a hard time doing that because the Nigerian passport is vilified. So you try to get a visa, you try to Japa, you're gonna have a hard time. Situations, events like ArtX are designed to connect people to Nigeria in a way that is free from the propaganda that the world puts on this space. I'm glad that I was able to go for myself and experience it. But overall, what I was able to learn from someone like Victor, who's from Lagos but able to move pretty freely between borders, is that you need some help. You need sponsorship. However way you can get it, whether it's through education, whether it's through government connections, whether it's through a curator, to really be an artist spreading their wings internationally, you need some sponsorship. You had some breakfast today?
Hmm?
You had some breakfast today?
Breakfast?
Yeah.
I had some honey buns. I mean, it's a homemade one, but no.
It was homemade honey buns?
Yeah.
Who made the homemade honey buns?
A lawyer friend of mine. She made honey buns for a nigga.
That's what's up. I ain't never had no homemade honey bun.
It should be good.
I'm into it. Let me take a sip of water. Yeah, everything on. Yeah, we got the red dots here. We got the red dots here.
I sold a painting today. You said red dots. I sold a painting today. I sold beauty. My from Government Cheese today. I don't want to keep it, but everything must go.
Everything got to get up out of here. So, I mean, with that being said, we're going to start this out with a word, you know, from our sponsors. Our first sponsors being art. Like, all the art that we make.
That's a sponsor.
It's pretty much, you know, like what makes all of this stuff happen. So talk a little bit about, I guess, that sale. Like, you know, how does this process work of art sponsoring what we doing?
Well, I mean, shit, if you don't make no money, you can't pay no bills. That's basically, basically that's it, you know. Today I got a phone call. A dude asked me, can he come to the gallery, can we go to, I think he wanted to come to Old Rabbit first. He wanted to come to Old Rabbit, see what I had available in my studio sale. Met him down there at 2 o'clock. I showed him the pieces hanging up. He wanted to make sure he was like, I like this one. And it was the beauty piece from Government Cheese. And he was like, he wanted to see it. And then he was like, what else you got? So I had to go in the closet, pull out my archive, what I kept for myself, laid it all out. Then he wanted to go to Nina Baldwin, check out Nina Baldwin, see what we got over there. Then he was like, I wanted to make sure, because he said his wife would trip if he came back spending too much money. He had a budget. So I was trying to get him to get 2 pieces. But he said he thought about another piece, and he wanted to talk to his wife first about it before he spent the money on it. But he came back, he did a tour, all 3 locations, came back, wanted the beauty piece, and yeah, he made the sale. Stretched, took him over here and swiped that card. And it felt good. Yeah, I wanted to keep that piece, but I mean, everything gotta go. I can't be holding on to nothing and be attached to shit.
Yeah. I mean, I had my first sale win like that this year. I advertised, it happened to be a good moment. Somebody saw it, and they saw a piece that I really liked. Like that piece, with the dude with the chain with the 3 apples, and the hip and minis, the Vanessa piece. Yeah. So that was like one of my favorites, just because of, like, I saw it and I made it, and it came out better than like even what all the sketches was. And yeah, somebody who also just understood the story of it, somebody with a connection to Atlanta, and just like even that history of the piece. It definitely was one of those pieces, like, Kenise was like, yeah, I would have wanted this to be for our private collection, but I was like, it's got a good place though. I'm gonna be able to see it again.
See, I'm not probably see mine again. It was some white guy, but he was cool as hell, man. He was real cool, man. And yeah, he was super cool. Like, yeah, he was patient too. So just like,
I ain't never seen the living room where my face is at. Like, one of the first people who bought a picture of my face, like from a portrait series. I'm just in somebody's living room,
hanging out like the Black Jesus in Good Times. Good times, Black Jesus, good times. But it was pretty dope, man. It was like, and then after I posted it, because I posted it right away, and then this lady called me and was mad as hell at me. It was like, I hit you up to send me a picture of what you had available. And I think I got distracted because it was a text message, and then I lost it, and I told her, like, but then she had an eye on something else. So like, I hope tonight I told her, like, you need to work on it, because the piece she asked for, the dude had his eye on it too. And he wanted to might come back and get it. So I told her she need to work on it. So I hope I get that one gone out of here too. That right there is sponsorship. You know why? Because selling that paid the rent and the insurance and the internet and the gas and the power.
Right.
Well, if I sell the other paint, it's gonna handle the power and the internet. But it handled at least maybe like 70% of the bills for O-Rabbit. Just that one painting.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm very thankful for that. You know what I'm saying? It don't take a lot to keep a gallery open. You know what I'm saying? So, that's sponsorship I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I thought that is just an important place to start, because, I mean, what you really laid out is just the story of paying the bills. Like, it's something, that, I mean, you can definitely put a system around it, but sometimes it just come out of a place that you don't expect it to come from. Yeah. And, being able to really like automate that, I think is something, that is a valuable thing to be able to find out in a space like this. Like, what are some of the trends, that you may have noticed, or that you think are going to be a part of this year in art? Like, everybody, I've been seeing these articles, everybody, got their stuff to say.
I think the trends of this year, I'm seeing a lot of artists loosen up. I like that a lot, because work been so tight coming out of Atlanta. We've been like so dominated by figurative artists and portrait artists that a lot of the artists is doing that are kind of loosening up a little bit. I like that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Going into like an era of expressionism. I think that's really dope. I don't know, I hope it ain't the same thing, but I'm noticing like artists like, I went to Fahamu's show, and he had work that was tight. He had a lot of work that was looser than usual. And it was really dope to see, because it's almost like you're looking into like, almost like a sketchbook or something else. You know what I'm saying? It's more raw, in my opinion, which is, when it's looser, you get the emotions a little bit more than something that's super tight, super clean. Because I think once the artists once you know how to paint, I can paint really good. You don't want to spend 3 days painting the pupil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I
The
was
creases in the ear and shit. You know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
saying that like because well, I was talking to one of the people who I'll mention throughout this interview, Victor EHIKHAMENOR, in Lagos. He was telling me about video art and like, you know, how wide open the space is. And I agree with him just from the standpoint of like, you know, I don't want to have to make a film all the time. Like, take a long time to make a film. And I mean, this particular, you know, venture that we're going into is useful because sponsorship, advertising, you know, all of the like avenues that we need to really be able to build a narrative around this type of work we're doing. You know, like you within the art world, so you can communicate this narrative around somebody like Fahamu's work. But where's the space, you know, that people can like actively engage with that and, you know, just kind of like get that information. So that's what I want to, you know, just really do with this art school podcast. I mean, for the time being, that's just what I'm gonna call it.
So how do an artist make money doing video art?
So,
Like, how do you sell it? Like, what is the process of that, making the income from that?
all right, so part of it, from what I was told, and like I guess what I also like got in my own experience, I guess I just needed a refresher. So Victor was telling me that, like, this is his second time like being like, yo, you already know how to do film. And he told me he's interested in doing video art because he just do so much shit. Like he just do everything. So he's like, you know, you already got the technical skill, you got the eye, you just really just need to produce the work and like install it. So basically you just create whatever the fuck you want to create. So if I want to like, you know, I don't know, just create a narrative around the new year and like, I don't know, have it be a visual mood board of like how I see Atlanta, and it can be like a screen with an ass shaking in slow motion and like a time lapse of like blue sky and clouds and, you know, have it be multiple channels. All I gotta do is just make it, like document it, and then like send a diagram, and institutions pay install fees for that.
Gotcha.
So for me, when I did the biennial, the virtual remains thing with TK, I had like that video, that was my first museum installation. It had like the curved wall, so we mapped it out. It had like, you know, LX made the ceramic urn. We had the altar, and you just say, put it like this, and got the, you know, exhibition fee for just doing that. Cause I mean, it's, cause I've always wondered, like, when you do, what the question was how do you do a whole room, but like you really sell it this way? Like, are people going to purchase like the room? Like what aspect? So it is just like, some people do make space for like installations like that, but a lot of it is like institutional specific art.
Got you. So it's not really accessible to like working class people?
I mean, if they go to the place, if they know the place to go to, and that's just also, you know, the point that I'm making with this particular thing, like to distribute a conversation on YouTube that's grounded in, you know, like the way that we do art. Like, we know all levels of it, you know.
Would it fall under installation?
Yeah, and I mean, like, from a public art standpoint, I mean, I think the economics of it, you know, to your point about like how to make money from it, I mean, the fees is, they got a scale. So you gotta like probably do it with a particular institution to really get like a livable, you know, I guess kind of fee, you know, from having like an exclusive work in a place where it's not gonna move. And then you kind of tour it around. I think that's probably, you know, like a layer of it. I mean, for my pieces that I did, it was just basically like a small kind of like, you know, gallery fee. So it was something that was nice to get, you know, and you just kind of dictate the amount of work you do off of that. Like, I think that's also why they're probably so simple, because the economics of doing major video production, if, you know, the fee is not gonna be like ginormous.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of beautiful video art coming out of Africa, boy. Like, it's almost like, will it fall under the category, like what I'm seeing coming out of Africa, I don't know if it falls in the category of like Afrofuturism, but it's really like fantasy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was watching some of like Tyler Creator's latest visuals for his videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff, especially when his rollout, was really, really like reminded me of some of the stuff I seen come out of Africa. You know what I'm saying? Some of the visual artists coming out of Africa.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, wow, you know?
You know, I would like to, you know, just create something that make it easy for people to just have a window into what we do and like what we talking about. And also just really like bring attention to the Walker and Peters project. So tell us a little bit about what that is. And I guess just center it just in this building. We ain't introduce ourselves, we ain't introduce space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we supposed to act like we talking to people, because we are.
Well, I mean, like, what the Walker and Peters project is, I mean, for the last, well, I'm gonna say the last 8-9 years or something like that. I've been using a major percentage of my income selling art, tattooing, all the revenues that I got coming in to like sponsor something, this project. And I'm looking at it like, I love this neighborhood, you know, the corner that we on, it need a little tender love and care. And I don't wanna move. So I just put a lot of percentage of my money into my block. Now I'm getting older and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta get out the rat race, right? I gotta get out the rat race of self-sponsorship. I didn't watch people like yourself and other people like get all this help and grants. Like I'm just like, so the Peter Walker Street project is maybe partner with a bigger company, a corporation that wanna just, you know, help us basically, you know, remove my income from the situation, put their income in the situation, and also we can create a lot of programming when I can actually be a part of more because I'm not have to work to make the money to pay for the projects. I want to be a part of it. I want to jump in it and do classes. I want to do programming too, but if I'm working days every day to fund the project for physical brick and mortar places, then it's like I'm removed kinda, I'm just the sponsor. Right. So I just want to take my role out as being the sponsor and maybe team up with a big corporation. You know, that want to say, hey man, like, hey, we want to put some money on it, and the Walking Street project will be like, it'll pay for, you know, for the programming, it'll pay for the insurance, the mortgage, the power, the internet, all these things that I pay for out of pocket. I just want to replace it. I think I paid enough. You know what I'm saying? That's basically it. Like, I think I got the ball rolling. You know, and then tighten up a couple of little screws here and there, get the system really airtight. And I got the numbers airtight, I got the paperwork airtight, I got everything that costs airtight, the numbers airtight. So I'm just looking for a partner to kind of help me out with this thing a little bit, and it'll be a beautiful tax write-off for a company to sponsor an art district in Atlanta, Georgia, and downtown in Castleberry Hill.
We are the culture bearers of planet Earth. A quote from Nikki Giovanni that really speaks to who we are as a culture. Black people, African people, whatever, you know, we call it ourselves. Everybody knows that everything comes from us. The spaces that we decide to build, to lead, the art fairs we come up with, the institutions we build, it really moves culture forward. The example that the world is following at this point in history is based off an example, a seed that we planted years and years and years ago. As people living in contemporary times, I mean, we're really just standing on the shoulders of our ancestors and those examples that came before us for all of the things that we do moving forward. None of the stuff that we're doing is new. It's all happened in some form or fashion at some point in history. It is 7:05 on Monday, February 24th, 2005. So, yeah, if you have made it this far into the video, you're my hero. Because everybody talking about, they want to be about that long form content life. But who made it to the end of this video? Really? Anyway, thank you for watching and experiencing the first episode of the ARTSKOOL podcast. Yeah, this is an idea that I'm very excited to be developing. They probably won't be any longer than this, but not too much shorter than this, because I just personally have like so much footage and just so many things to share, like from my experiences as an artist. And I really do think that there's a lot of enrichment to be had from anybody who's interested in doing art in the way that I do it, which is, as you can see, traveling, doing residencies, being a part of community-led spaces, and doing big-ass art shows. So next up, the next episode you're gonna see will be a recap from this art show that's happening this Friday. This Friday where we are doing the 18th annual City of Ink Community Art Show. We didn't really talk about it too much, me and Maya, but this art show has been going on for 18 years, and it was originally created by artists for artists who aren't able to get into galleries or who weren't able to get into galleries at the time. People who, you know, just needed a forum and a space to be on somebody's walls with their art and just to come out and commune in the name of art. My piece just got it done today, so that's why I'm just now getting this film done and this podcast done. Doing a lot over here, but you know, that's the life of us multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, you know, artists. So yeah, I mean, what I gotta do my calls to actions now, pardon me, I gotta, you know, still edit all of this stuff. So I'm gonna take this part, put it on the end of the video, and then everything will be complete. But yeah, so as I mentioned in the middle of the video, there is more to see on my Patreon, ways that you can support the podcast. We are, of course, gonna be looking for more sponsors, so you can buy some art. I got plenty more art to make, so you can check it out at my website, artemusjenkins.com. Definitely, if you're in Atlanta or, you know, just down for the trip, come out to the City of Ink 18th anniversary show this Friday. We are going to have 180 artists showing work between 5 spaces. Those 3 that we mentioned are part of the Walker and Peters Project, Hidden Gallery / Peter Street Station, Old Rabbit Gallery, and Nina Baldwin. Throughout the year, there are going to be 32 shows happening in each gallery over the course of this whole year. So plenty of opportunities to come out and see art, purchase art. Every purchase, every piece of art you collect goes directly into this type of programming that I'm doing right now. The type of programming that you would experience at Peter Street Station or Nina Baldwin. We've been having ceramic classes. I've done a film night for the past couple years. We do all types of workshops and just things to keep people engaged. The jam session every Wednesday. We got a poetry night on Mondays, every other Monday. And all of these initiatives are led by artists. This is all stuff that artists in Atlanta have just decided that they needed to do. So stay tuned to see how this art show turns out next week. I might put up a recap, a little bit of a recap from last year, just to share it with y'all. As a matter of fact, actually, you can look at the recap from City of Ink 17 on this YouTube channel. Just go back in my videos. The video is called The Value of Inspiration. And you can see how this art show looked last year. It's going to look even doper this year. So, yeah, I think that is it. It's going to have to be it because I got to edit this. So, thanks for staying to the end. Again, if you want to support, go to my Patreon. It's free membership, but you can also pay for the $5 membership so that you can see more in-depth stuff, those long-form interviews that you might be interested in seeing. If you want to see more from Latif and like hear more about the Benin bronzes, how I explored my concept and just the things that I started developing while I was there, go to my Patreon. And if you want to collect some of my art, go to my website, artemusjenkins.com. And if you just want to support Atlanta, come out to the City of Ink 18th Anniversary Art Show. And keep watching these videos to the end. It's good for my CPMs, you know, my retention rate, all the analytics and stuff that I need, you know, to show sponsors. Yeah. Thanks for coming, y'all. Peace.